I stood in the back of a sun-drenched chapel in Connecticut, clutching a $100,000 wedding contract and a ring that cost more than most people's homes. My mother was convinced I was the victim, that I was being hunted by a gold digger who had crawled back into my life to bleed me dry. But as the music started, and I saw the terror in Maya's eyes, the truth hit me like a physical blow. I wasn't the hero of a romance. I was a stalker in a custom-tailored suit. I thought I was winning her back, but I was just a ghost haunting a life I no longer belonged to. To understand how I ended up in the back of a police cruiser on what should have been the happiest day of my life, you have to understand my mother, Mrs. Sterling. In our world, love isn't about chemistry, it's about compatibility. And in her eyes, compatibility meant net worth. 2 years ago, I was dating Maya. She was brilliant, a first-generation student working 3 jobs to pay off her loans while finishing her master's. I loved her. But my mother? She saw a threat. She told Maya to her face that people from different worlds only collide, they never merge. She humiliated her, pointing out her student debt and her father's blue-collar job. And me? I was the coward who let it happen. I let my mother manage my bank account, my grad school applications, even my schedule. When Maya finally walked away, she didn't just leave me, she escaped. For 2 years, I lived in a vacuum. I was a 26-year-old child with a trust fund and a hollow chest. Then I saw her. It was a Tuesday at a coffee shop in Chelsea. It felt like a movie. We locked eyes, we exchanged a few cool words, and she left. I thought it was fate. I didn't know then that I had been fed that moment. I was desperate. That's when I found the Second Chance Agency. They didn't look like private investigators, they looked like tech moguls. They told me they used storytelling psychology and algorithm-based reconciliation. They said Maya hadn't left because she didn't love me. She left because of my mother's narrative, and they could rewrite it. They told me exactly what I wanted to hear. It wasn't my fault, and I could buy my way back into her heart. The agency started their consulting. It was expensive. First, it was the image overhaul. They told me Maya's new life was modest, so I needed to show her the sterling power. I traded my sensible sedan for a $150,000 Italian sports car. I swapped my wardrobe for labels I couldn't even pronounce. Then came the organic encounters. The agency tracked her phone. Illegally, though they called it data analytics. They'd tell me where she was having lunch, and I'd show up acting surprised. I thought I was being charming. I didn't see her flinching. I didn't see the way she clutched her bag when I'd randomly appear at her gym or her office. My mother, meanwhile, was panicking. She saw me spending thousands. She saw the wedding pamphlets from the most exclusive venues in the Hamptons. She thought Maya was the one demanding the $100,000 platinum wedding package. She thought Maya had manipulated me into buying a penthouse in Tribeca. She didn't realize it was all me. I was the one walking into wedding planners' offices alone, signing checks for a bride who hadn't said yes. I was living in a delusion, fueled by a company that was bleeding me for every cent I had. Every time I expressed doubt, every time I mentioned that Maya seemed scared of me, the agency would gaslight me. That's just her defense mechanism, they'd say. She's waiting for you to prove you're stronger than your mother. Spend more, show up more. Don't let her go. They even gave me frequency files, strange audio files they told me to play at night to align my manifestation. Looking back, it was cult behavior. They had me convinced that if I just spent enough, if I was just persistent enough, the reality of her new life would simply dissolve. Then came the wedding day. Not my wedding, hers. Maya was marrying Julian. He was a teacher. He didn't have a trust fund or a sports car, but he had her respect. The agency told me this was the final hurdle. They told me, go there, show her the $1 million life she's walking away from. She'll thank you for saving her. I burst into that chapel like a madman. I interrupted the vows. I started shouting about the penthouse, the car, the $100K wedding package I'd already booked for us. I looked at my mother, who had followed me there, expecting to see a gold digger. Instead, she saw her son,
the boy she had raised in a gilded cage, completely broken, screaming at a woman who was looking at him with nothing but pure, unadulterated horror. The police didn't take long to arrive. Maya had already filed a restraining order weeks ago that the agency had intercepted and hidden from me. I was arrested for stalking and harassment. When I called the agency from the station, the line was dead. They had cleared out their office. They took nearly $500,000 of my inheritance and left me with a criminal record and a shattered psyche. The most painful part? My mother's face. She finally realized by controlling every breath I took, she hadn't protected me. She had made me a man who didn't know how to handle a no. She had made me a man who thought love was something you could engineer and purchase. It's been a year. I'm in therapy now. I sold the car, I sold the penthouse, and for the first time in my life, I'm working a job I found myself. I'm paying back the money I borrowed from my future. I learned the hard way that when a relationship ends, the most respectful thing you can do, the most loving thing you can do, is let it stay dead. True love isn't a script you can rewrite, and you can't buy a second chance if the first one was built on a foundation of control. I'm learning to be a person Maya might have actually liked, even if I'll never get to tell her that. And honestly, that's the only second chance I actually need.